This is Meri at the Meri Atelier, and we are going to do another tat lesson. I think I've done one where I introduced all the different needle sizes and the thread and the book by Barbara Foster. I'll put a link to that below, and I would say go back and review that if you missed that lesson or if you just need a review. It's been a while. So what I did is I pulled off about 1.5 yards of thread off of this. Now I think this is number 10 thread, but I'm not sure. I pulled the label off and there it is. I got it at Walmart. It's just crochet thread. So hold your needle, put your thread in there, thread your needle. Let's pull it out here. There. Thread your needle till you have about 6 inches. That's what I leave. As you get better, you'll get accustomed to what kind of a tail you want to leave. I leave approximately a 6-inch tail. That gives me plenty of room. I can always snip off if I don't want it. So, and then on this side, let this thread fall through. Now there's only one stitch. We learned in our first session, there's only one stitch that you need to learn in tatting. Thank goodness. I'm a beginner. I'm not teaching, I'm illustrating what I'm going through to learn all this. So take the thread on that's not threaded to the eye, bring it kind of into a loop like that, wrap it around your index finger clockwise like that, bring it down and hold on to it with these 3 fingers. You're going to make the first leg of this, so bring it through like this, and then you want to do the second leg, so come through this way on your first stitch. That's what I do. Now you have this thread hanging down, and I like to grab onto it with in my right hand to get it out of the way. Now, right here. So I got a little bit longer thread here than 6 inches, but we'll leave it. All right, so now we're going to get ready to tat. The thread over your index finger, the other 3 fingers holding on to it, and I kind of put my thumb there. We're going to do the first leg. So you bring it this way. The thread is wrapped clockwise around your index finger. Bring your needle under and wrap it on your needle. So simple. Then the other way, I wrap my thread counterclockwise like this. And then on the back of my needle, of my finger, I bring my needle through like that. So I continually, as I'm tatting, and I'm a beginner tatter. If you want experts, there are plenty of experts out on YouTube. I'm just showing you what I'm learning in different lessons. So go this way. I say front, and then I wrap it around and say back, counterclockwise. Well, I guess I kind of come front to back. You can do it either way, but I'm going into the back here like that. So let's do that again. Take your thread, not the thread that's threaded through the eye of the needle, put it in your right hand, wrap it clockwise around your index finger, and come under for the first leg of the stitch. I call it the front leg. And then bring it back around this way, which would be counterclockwise. Bring it this way and go under the thread on the back of your finger. I call this the back leg. So I've got a front leg and a back leg. Okay, I'm doing the front leg here and the back leg here. So you just kind of keep going like that until you get any number of stitches on here. Now, this first stitch, I'll probably eventually pull out if I were doing it a nice ring or something, but I'm going to leave it on here for now because I want to show you how I'm putting this on a strip of paper to put in my journal. So bring it around, go through, let's just do a whole bunch. Front, wrap it around, back, wrap it around, back, clockwise, back, counterclockwise, clockwise, front, back, front, back. That's how I do it, or how I've been doing it. Now, I want to stress again, this is not a tutorial from an expert. I'm a beginner. So if I'm doing something wrong out there, or if you're not getting what I'm doing, I would encourage you to go to YouTube, search in the browser for tatting tutorials. And like I said, there are plenty of experts out there. I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm learning, and I'm bringing you along on my journey of learning, and I'm just practicing it. So I kind of wanted to qualify myself there. Now I'm going to do something here when I get to the end of, I mean, this tatting needle is probably about 5 inches long, and I've got approximately maybe 2 inches. Yeah, not quite 2 inches. Let's do a few more of tatting stitches on it. 1, front, back, front, back, front leg, back leg, front leg, back leg. Okay, so let's see. That's about 2 inches. So now what I have here is my leg, and coming down this way and going through the eye of the needle. See if I can't pull it through here, right here. And then I've got this that I'm tatting off of. Now, what I'm going to do next is not really part of the tat. What I want to do is I made a tatting journal for my own lesson progress. I'm going to paint this black, just the center in here, let the floral show, and when I get good enough, I'm going to put a tatted piece on top of it. But for right now, this is my tatting journal, and I just filled it with black pages of black paper, and if I want to put any more in, I have plenty of room to put some more signatures, but we'll fill these up first. So what I want to show you is some of my practices. Now, you will see when you start to pull this off the needle, it wants to form a circle. It naturally wants to form a circle. Well, I don't want it to form a circle yet because these are some of my first tatting experiences, and I want to document it. And I want to show you how I did that. So I'm going to cut a strip of paper, probably about the same size. It doesn't have to be that great. It's just for my own purpose here, just for my documentation, but I want to show you how I'm doing it. And I'm going to put this back here because I get some glare off of my glass. And let's cut it about the same size here, approximately. And it's, of course, it's cut a little crooked because Meri has a crooked eye. Okay, now what I want to do is, isn't this the prettiest needle holder? I got this from Ruth Lamb, sent this to me, and I've been using it. I'm keeping my needles in it. I go to the back here, and I like this needle with the curve at the point, but it's not sharp enough to poke holes in there, but it's got a big eye. So to poke the holes, I'm going to get a little bit sharper needle. Let's see which one I want. This one. This one's a little bit sharper, and it'll poke a hole in here. So let me bring this off, put these aside. So at the top here, I want to poke 2 holes, just at the top. Poke 1 and then come down a little. It's hard for me to see without something white under it. Yeah, now you see it. Here, and come down maybe about, 1/4 of an inch and poke another one. Just to start out with. Almost like, looks like buttonholes. Then, I want to take the thread, and this is not a tatting technique. This is a technique that I'm using to mount my thread on paper. So don't say this is an official technique. You just watch and see. So I'm going to unthread the eye of my needle here, and that's the top thread that goes to the last stitch up here. Just leave that alone for a little bit. What I want to do is thread the bottom thread back through here. And let's see if I can do that. Just like that. And then, now this, when you make a ring, you do similar to this. But you're not going to make a ring here. You're just going to pull it off. But if I don't get a thread through there, when I remove this stitch, these stitches will all fall out. This thread going through the center of all these stitches will hold these stitches together. So I'm just going to pull my needle up. And then you'll see it. See how it's starting to want to make a curve? Well, I really don't want that to happen. And I'm going to kind of pull it straight after I get my, and it's okay if you unthread your needle at this point. But I don't want to pull it too tight because I want mine to be straight. And we're just going to pull it until that thread is completely through. And you could leave it a little loop down there if you wanted, and I'll show you why later. But see how that wants to make its little ring? Well, we don't want a ring, so let's kind of pull it straight like that. Okay, and this is the bottom thread coming out the top of the stitch. And like I said, I don't want a ring yet, so I'm just kind of stretching it out a little here. So what I want to do at this point, let's get this white sheet back under here. And on here, I see I have a hole here. Now let's go back to that other needle. I have a hole here and one here. I can see it. You can probably see it too. Here, here, and here. So what I want to do is measure the length of this that I want, and I just kind of hold it up there and kind of straighten it out as much as possible and maybe pull it down just a little. And this is where I say I don't think I'll keep that bottom stitch, but in this case I'm going to kind of tighten this up a little if I can. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because I want to mount this on paper to save my studies. All right, so I'm just going to kind of put my needle there, remove this, and poke a hole. Well, remove it, but I got a hold of the... So just kind of open it up. You kind of might have to guesstimate a little. And it's okay if it curves a little because it's naturally going to want to curve anyway. So I'm going to hold my needle here. Get it out of the way. All right about here. Now, I'm just going to poke a hole in there. And then I kind of make it round. Now that'll be my bottom hole. And I can see the white behind this. I don't know if you can or not. But then I'm going to come about 1/4 of an inch up from that. And it's right here, and poke another hole in it. And the only reason I'm using this more slender needle is because it's sharper. I'm going to go back to my needle with the curved point that has the big eye. I'm going to go back up to the top here where I have my bottom thread that I threaded through. I actually have 2 threads coming out. The one that I was tatting with, I put over here. The bottom thread that I threaded through the stitches, I'm going to put on this big needle. And yeah, I use a little DNA because it's my journal and I don't care. Now, in here, where I made the holes right at the top, I'm going to go into the top hole as I'm looking at it. So I'm going to go up in here. If you go to the bottom, then you'll have a little gap between your hole. And I'm just going to thread it through, just like this. Pull it through. And just kind of pull it through like that. And I don't, you know, it's a little loose in there. That doesn't concern me too much. I could probably pull on that a little and tighten it up a little. But I don't mind it being a little loose because I just want to show some of my experiences. And you probably will not be doing this other than to mount it in the journal if you want to mount it in your journal. All right, so I have my back thread here. My other side's getting caught on it there. Try to keep that other thread out of the way. Now I'm going to go back through that hole directly below it, about 1/4 of an inch below. Right in here. And I'm going to kind of stitch this on is what I'm saying. And pull that down. Kind of get your piece situated. Now you can at this point come through one of these, and maybe I will come through this top one if I can get my needle in there. Let's get my needle in there. This needle's kind of large, so I don't know if it's going to go in there or not. Maybe I can go through it this way. There. Whoops, I had it there. And let's just pull that through. That'll tighten it up a little. And then I'm going to go back down through that top hole again. So basically, I'm just stitching this to my paper. And yeah, I got a little loop there, but that really doesn't, this up in here doesn't concern me because it's just a display of my learning attempts. And it's really kind of interesting how this curls. Just let it do what it wants to do, but try to keep it straight. I mean, it will want to say, I want to go my way, please. Right in here is where it's doing it. I think I got it. Right there. All right, I'm just going to kind of come to the back here with my needle, and I'm going to secure a knot in here. And I'm just showing you this in case you want to mount. Got to rethread my needle. In case you want to mount your learning attempts. And that, I was sitting here because I would get all my pretty double stitches and my Picassos and all that, and I'd pull it off the needle and it'd all fall apart. And I had to figure out how I was going to put it in my journal. All right, we're going to pull it tight. I'm going to thread it through here. We're just going to do a little knot. It will be mounted on there, so, you know, the knots aren't going to show on the back. All right, then I'm just going to let that thread hang. Now, I've got this thread that I was tatting on also coming out the top over here. I'm going to thread that on the needle. And as you can see, it's on the front of my piece, which is fine. Get this white piece out of here now. And I didn't tape this down, so it floats around. Sorry about that. I just wanted a nice background so you could see better. And to rethread my needle. Now, I'm going to go back down to the back on the top one too. That top hole has about 3 or 4 threads going through it. So just be aware of that. It's really okay. Just pull it through down to the back. Then we want to go down to the bottom hole, the very bottom one. You have on the end here, you have the bottom one, then about a 1/4 inch, you have one above it. So we're going to go down to the very bottom one. And we're going to go from the back to the front, like that. And then we're going to go through, get this straightened out again. It wants to follow its natural curve, which if you were doing a ring, it would be a good thing, but I don't want a ring here. I want it straight. So you could probably secure this with washi tape while you're doing this. Let's get a piece of washi tape just for an example. Since it's right after Christmas, let's use some Christmas. See if this will hold it. So pull this as straight as you can and down toward the bottom, and I'm going to put my washi tape right here to kind of hold it for me. Help me hold it. And then I'm going to come through this bottom stitch, the one that I said I thought I would pull off, which is just more of a little starter stitch in my head. Whoops, got it. My thread wants to catch on the paper. Just pull it through, pull it through, pull it through. And now we're going to go back down, and you can either go through the same one, or you could go through the one above it. I'm going to go through the same one if I can, because we've already looped it through there. It isn't like I'm pulling my thread back through I'm pulling it through the same hole, but the loop will keep it from falling through. Then I'm going to go back through from the back to the front on the little hole above it. And you can kind of pull this tight if you want. It'll be loose until you get it really knotted. So let's find that hole. Now, right here. And go from the back to the front. Now you can either go through it or under it. Right now, I'm not going to go through it. I'm just going to go around it. And if you choose to go through it on your example, just be aware that you're messing up one of these stitches. So I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to come back down here, go through this one again, which is the very bottom one. There we go. Now I'm going to turn this over. This is the back. This is what we did with the thread that was hanging off of the eye of the needle. And this is the thread we were tatting with. I'm going to bring it back up here, go under this stitch, just to help secure everything tight. Of course, my thread is hooking on every little edge of paper it can find. Thread seems to want to do that. And just go through, pull it tight, and make another little knot in here. Now, this is only for showing you how I put this in my journal without the ring. We really haven't, we've done sort of a ring. We've done a half ring because it wants to curve. We haven't done a ring yet. That'll come in the next video. Oh. And then I'm just going to take these 2 threads and tie them together and snip them off. And this is just for purposes of putting it in my journal. Okay, let's snip these off. Okay, get these threads out of the way, that one out of the way, take my washi tape off, pretty piece of washi tape, I'll put it on my calendar. And it's got that little natural curve in here. At this point, that's not bothering me because, you know, I really don't care if it doesn't go completely straight. All I wanted was to illustrate that I was doing double stitches on my needle. So I'm following Barbara Foster's Learn to Tat book. I also showed that in the first video. And she said to practice this, she said take about 5 yards of fabric and practice doing double rings, double stitches. Now, my needle is only so long. I can only practice and pull off and practice and pull off and practice and pull off. But I've done this enough times now that I'm very comfortable in making double stitches. And I'm ready to do a ring, but I will do that in my next video. And we'll learn some tatting here. And here again, these are just illustrating double stitches of my learning attempts. And let's just go ahead and attach them down in here. Let's do that with some double-sided tape. I do think I'll put this double one on this side. My book is not laying flat here. It's just a journal. Let's put, that'll hold it. Yeah. Let's put some tape on here, double-sided tape. So I can't wait until I start forming rings and doing doilies and doing joins. And I'm just wanting to learn how to tat, period. And there's a lot of things you can do with them. We could decorate our ATCs. We could put it on tags. You could put your tatting on ornaments. You could put them on your journal pages, on the cover of your journal. So, yep, one of my goals is to do tatting, get good at it. Let's see, I'm going to put it this way because this was my first one that I did earlier today, and this was the second one. So, and I've been doing this, but I haven't been saving them. I haven't been saving them because I want to document them in my journal. So let's pull this off. And I want to show you how I'm documenting as I go. Pull this off. And I've got a little bit of tape hanging out down here. And we're going to put that on the edge of the page over here. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I think I got 2 shades of black here. Scrap paper. There we go. And this is the third one here. This is the one I did today in front of you guys. And it's got where it wants to form the natural ring here, the natural curve. And this one is trying to too. I'm laughing because I don't want it to. If I wanted it to, it would go straight as a pin. Isn't that the way it goes? Speaking of pin. So I have a lot of things I want to do here and show you. And I'm just pulling you along with me as I learn, hoping that maybe some of you will pick up tatting too. You can get supplies on Amazon. I just went to Walmart to get my thread, but you want a fairly large eye needle to start with. Don't try the real fine stuff at first because, well, that's frustrating. Because, well, that's frustrating. Let's see if this pen will write on my black paper here. Put that white over there. Did I have a snippet of black that, yeah. One of these will write. Yeah, it will. So I'm going to document this as today is December 27th. (2022), and I'm just going to put examples of tatting a row of double stitches. That's all I need. I could put number 1, number 2, and number 3. So make your little journal. Yours doesn't have to be. Mine was a book that I had on hand. Let's tip my camera just a little. And maybe zoom out just a teeny bit so you can see. I am streaming on my mobile phone. So it's, in order to get it to zoom in and out, I have to pinch the screen. But here's what I chose. It was just, I think it was a Western romance novel. And I gutted the pages. And took some of this floral fabric that I got at an auction and covered it. And I'm going to paint this area in here black, at least on the front. And maybe I'll tat around the edge and maybe put, when I learn how to do a tatted doily or whatever, I'll put it in there. And I might do the same on the back. And then I just took a black paper, sheets of paper, like what I have under here, and folded them in half and did pamphlet stitches. And there's my journal. I should sign my name up here. You know what I should do is put my tatting needle in here if I could get it to stay. But for now it's going to go back in my thread. Let's just sign my name here. And I'm just going to put tatting journal. There we go. So we'll see how I fill these pages up. We will see. So thank you for watching. And I will see you in lesson 3, or session 3, I should say, because they're really not lessons. Session 3, and where I will be forming a ring. We're going to do the ring next. Now, I would encourage you to practice your double stitches, and if you're not putting them in if you're not pulling them off your needle and putting them in a journal, and if you get to the end of the needle, just pull it off and do it again. Do it 3 or 4 times. But if you do want to pull it off the needle, I would encourage you to take that bottom thread and pull it through to the top. You may not want to mount it in a journal or anything, but if you pull that bottom thread through to the top and maybe knot it with the other thread, you might be able to save it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in session 3. Bye for now.